Welcome to Country Fried Rock, where we talk with musicians to find out what inspires their creativity. Country Fried Rock, music uncovered. I'm your host, Sloan Spencer. This week on Country Fried Rock, we're talking with Trevor Garrett of Tea Leaf Green, a band that emerged from the San Francisco roots rock scene and known for their jam band tendencies, which makes their most recent record, In the Wake, surprising, particularly since none of the songs had been worked out live prior to recording. In fact, they did not even record them in the studio at the same time. Rather, each player went in and played their part separately, and the instrumentation was carefully added in the mix, rather than full sound all the time. This method makes for a very different record from a familiar band. Hear the new sound of Tea Leaf Green on Country Fried Rock. My guest today on Country Fried Rock is Trevor Garrett of Tea Leaf Green. They've got a brand new record out, In the Wake. Welcome.
Hi. We even recorded the record. It took us a year to record it, which is the longest we've ever spent on a record.
How did that work out, like in terms of logistics for you all?
Well, I mean, we didn't work on it every day for a year. We worked on it for a week here and there when we had time off from touring and when everybody could get together. So, we also didn't have to do it all together very much. So I would just show up and do my thing for a while, and then guitar player Josh would come in, do his thing, and Reed, the bass player, would come and do his thing. So we didn't all have to be in the same room at the same time, which was also kind of an interesting way to make a record.
Have you all done it that way before?
No. We've always made records basically having songs that we've been playing on the road for at least a year. And then, we'd rent a studio for a week and really quickly have to try to get the best version of every song that we've been playing.
Right.
This time around, we walked in with unfinished songs we've never played together before or played live. And instead of trying to get the best version of the song, we just started with a basic version, basically built it from the ground up, like a house, or you're sculpting it instead of trying to take a photograph,
So were you emailing bits and pieces back and forth to each other?
No, we did it all in the studio, so we weren't working at home. But there'd be a lot of showing up to the studio and you'd hear how things had changed in your absence.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. That's where we are now. Or maybe there'd be a little bit I think it was a little bit better before. Then there'd be a little, no, this is the way we got to do it now, So there's always those kind of discussions. But luckily we're not much of a confrontational lot. So we just kind of well, I guess if that's the way you like it, we'll just do it that way.
I'm really surprised to hear about this method just because Tea Leaf Green is known so much for the live shows and, having stuff out there, and this is a really different method.
Yeah, we've done records every other way, and, we're always pretty open to trying stuff new, new directions and sound, so to speak. And also, and on our last record, Radio Tragedy, we started working with a producer named Jeremy Black, who's the best producer that we've ever worked with, the most hands-on, actually giving ideas and input and really helping to make a creative record come out. And so he passed the audition on that record, and on this record we really gave him a blank check to do what he wanted. And this is kind of his preferred method. It's like a laboratory, scientific almost. and it's also just the way modern records are made. And it helped for us because, we've been doing this for, I don't even want to say how long, but it's gotten to the point where it's hard for us to make a decision that's based on music alone. It's just so much other baggage, to be you only want to put that there because 10 years ago I said that to you. And, well, there's all this political baggage that comes in. So it's really helpful to have an outsider, come into the process that we all trust that can have the final say on.
The Country Fried Rock Collection, Volume 1, for the benefit of Nucci Space, a nonprofit organization helping prevent musician suicide in Athens, Georgia. 100% of the money you donate goes directly to Nucci Space. Enjoy, y'all.
Hi, this is Trevor Garrett of Tea Leaf Green, and you're listening to Country Fried Rock.
Have the songs been put out there live yet?
No.
Ooh.
This is also another first for us for actually releasing a record of material that we've never played before. We've been chomping on a bit because, we just love to have some new material to play. And we've basically, the record's been done for, 6 months almost now. Time to go. There's a little bit of give and take. We're not going to try to completely reenact the record because that would just be a reenaction. And, the nature of our band is that our songs over time.
Right.
We don't have to get stuck in parts. We'll tend to just, change them. One night we'll be like, I just came up with something different. I like it better now.
Is there a different vibe or something different and fresh about the feel of these songs?
Yeah, it's very different from other records, and I think that every song has its own sort of sound and feeling. It's really a large exploration of the sonic landscape or palette, if you will. Something that you wouldn't really do if we were all just playing together in the room together. Because, if we're all just playing the songs and cutting it together in the same room, I'd be sitting in front of a piano or an organ. So, every song would have a piano and an organ in it. Since we had it all separated and did it piece by piece, that's not the case. We'd sit and listen, and if the song didn't call for a piano or organ, it didn't get a piano organ. We got a synthesizer, or it didn't get any keyboards.
Right.
Maybe I'm playing the banjo. Who knows? There's a lot of reasons to hire a producer. The producer's number one job is to get the record finished. That's what they have to do, because if it's just a band, the hardest thing about making a record is knowing how to say the song's done, because you can always be like, we can fix that a little bit.
Right.
Let's add some violins, or whatever. The producer's got to be the guy that says, nope, that song's done. We're moving on. But then other times when I've worked with producers, that's pretty much all I've really seen them contributing to the band. And with Jeremy, he's the first producer that where he's actually come in and given us ideas and some direction.
I know you all as a live band primarily. That's been my experience with you. And one of the things that I've always been fascinated by is how diverse the sets are live.
Maybe to our disadvantage sometimes. I think we have a pretty broad spectrum of influences throughout the band members, and everybody in the band writes too. So we don't really stick to one kind of music per se. Everything has a kind of an underlying feel to it. But sometimes we have a song that's a little country-ish, and sometimes more rock and roll.
You all have some amazing data on your website. The info you have about your set lists is incredible.
Oh yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, our website was put together with the guy that did it originally was kind of a data nerd like that. I don't know if I've ever really liked having all that info up there, because it's a blessing and a curse. In the scene that we came up in, the jam band scene, if you will, it went without saying that you would not repeat your set. And so we never did. And after being on the road for, over 10 years, there's points when I feel like I'm just randomly selecting songs. I'm like, there's no way we haven't, how many combinations of these songs are there? It kind of seems pointless after a while. Maybe we could just have a computer program that will just randomly generate the next song. We'll have a digital printout on the front of the stage.
That'd be hilarious.
Or a little ticker tape will come out and a bell will ring.
Someone's going to write an app for that after they hear this.
Yeah. To be honest, I've fantasized about going out on a tour where we played the same set every night. If you're playing the same set every night, you could be making more of a musical theater sort of thing. You could have more of an arc over the whole evening, And if you are playing the same set every night, you're going to get incredibly good at that set. Whereas if it's different every night, there's kind of a little bit of loosey-goosey that happens,
Sure.
Oh, wait, what is the bridge in that song? That kind of thing. We've tried to kind of do that a little bit when we've done opening sets, but there's a very strong division in the group about how we like that. And, I think that having a different set every night keeps it fresh and more alive, and that kind of, and that's what's really necessary.
How did you get into music originally?
Well, my family was, a musical family. We were really close, lots of aunts and uncles and cousins, and, when I was a kid, we were all campfire singers. Whenever we got together, we'd all kind of, the guitars would come out and we'd sing John Denver songs and the like. No one in my family was a professional musician or even really that great, but we all liked to sing. I just gravitated towards that. In the community I grew up in, there was just a really cool music scene of just high school kids when I was in junior high. All the cool kids that were older than me had bands, and I just wanted to do that. And so I just followed in their footsteps, and I had a lot of mentoring older kids that taught me stuff. I didn't have a lot of musical lessons, but there was just a lot of people teaching me things. But I was a total choir nerd in high school. I was a bass section leader, singing the jazz choir. I did all the musicals when I was in high school too.
Yeah.
So I was also sort of a drama geek as well. We did stuff like Oklahoma and Fiddler on the Roof. My big part was the Music Man. I had the lead role in the Music Man. That was a hard part, man. Let me tell you, there was a lot of words. Professor Harold Hill had a lot of words to remember.
Country Fried Rock is a proud sponsor of Front Porch Fest, coming to Stuart, Virginia, August 30th through September 1st. Get your tickets now at frontporchfest.com.
Hey, this is Trevor Garrett of Tea Leaf Green. You should check out our website, tealeafgreen.com.
Was the kind of the kid music community, teenagers and stuff, were they doing their own stuff or were they cover bands? What was that scene like?
There was cover bands, and there was also original music being played.
Cool.
And I started writing songs as soon as I could, basically, without even thinking. That's what I always wanted. I kind of just feel like I'm a rock rolling downhill. Like, me being a rock and roll band is the least ambitious thing that I could have achieved. It's just like the most natural thing. I don't think I ever really wanted to do anything else since basically discovering the Beatles when I was 10.
When did it become more than just a hobby for you?
Well, I graduated from high school and said goodbye to all my high school band friends because everybody went to college, and we just kind of all broke up. And I went to college in San Francisco, and I didn't even bring a guitar or anything.
Oh my gosh!
Because I thought, well, maybe I'll go see what's going on, and I started taking science classes, and thought maybe I could major in chemistry for an insane couple semesters. But I quickly started bringing some more of my musical stuff to school and started playing with people. But I think probably when I was a sophomore in college, I went to a random warehouse party where I didn't know anybody, except for I just went to go see another friend of mine who was playing by himself and kind of awkwardly hanging out and trying to be cool, right? I sat down next to this long-haired dude, gave me a beer. He said he was a lead guitar player, which I thought was kind of funny at the time to say. But he was nice enough. We got to talking, and his band played that evening, and sure enough, he was the lead guitar player. I was really impressed by their energy and just their unpretentiousness, which at that time was something that I felt was just really bad in the sort of San Francisco scene. Everybody, I had a hard time getting used to hipsters. I didn't know what to make of all these hipsters. I thought they're extraordinarily pretentious. And then I just saw this band playing, and it was just a rock and roll band having a good time, just jamming. And, I told them I played the piano, and I gave them my phone number, and that was what became Tea Leaf Green.
Oh.
Yeah. And so we just started playing together, and we were in college, and we were playing, and we got more and more gigs and more things happening. And then when we all graduated college about the same time, and no one got jobs. That's when it became more than a hobby. Well, I never tried to get a job. I wanted to hit the road. That was my big dream. I wanted to go on tour. That was pretty much my fantasy. I didn't really have any big dreams of fame or fortune. In my 18 or 19-year-old self, I thought it was incredibly romantic just to be able to travel around the country and play music and, have adventures.
How'd y'all make that happen?
Well, we had a friend of ours who inherited a little bit of money from his father and bought us a 32-foot RV, and we drove that thing around the country for a long time.
That's really fortunate.
Yeah. Any band that's starting out needs to have some kind of investment, as any business, modest as it is. We couldn't have done it without him, and it was kind of in an earlier time. I think, times are different now. I think it's a lot harder for bands to get started. We just got some gigs at festivals, and we're able to, from there, book other gigs around the country. We weren't making any money. There was 6 of us sleeping in this RV eating top ramen. We did that for probably 3 years. And let me tell you, that RV got gross. It was a very disgusting place.
One of my favorite lines from someone is, your 2 favorite days are the day you buy your RV and the day you sell your RV.
Oh, my God. That is so true. By the end, every time I'd go on tour, I would get, a rash from the thing. I think there was, at some point, somebody that tracked, some poison oak, onto one of the seats. This RV is giving me a rash. Oh, and let me tell you the smells that would come out of that thing. I've learned things about smell that few people have in this lifetime.
Never miss a radio show from Country Fried Rock. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. Just search Country Fried Rock.
This is Trevor Garrett of Tea Leaf Green. We got a new record, In the Wake. You can buy it off our website or iTunes, or if you can find a record store, go there. I mean, we just didn't know anything. We didn't have any money. Nobody was taking responsibility for stuff. On every long tour, we'd have at least one, like, tire blowout. We couldn't change it ourselves because you needed, like, a special jack, and it was always just a big catastrophe. And the thing is the tires would blow out at a pretty regular interval. If we just were a little bit more on our game, we'd be like, I think it's about time to change the tire, and just wait for it to, have some, catastrophe in Wyoming and have to go on some chaotic journey with a local trying to get a used tire on Mother's Day,
Eventually, it became something that was working out a little better for you all. Were you even aware that that was happening, or was it in retrospect, you're like, oh, wow, this is working, y'all?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, things just got steadily better and better. We got, better management, better people helping us. And it was a matter of, like, it really is reflected in your vehicles. Eventually we got to the point where we started getting hotel rooms, which was pretty cool. I didn't have to share a bed with anybody. That was a high point. Then when we got our own tour bus, we started renting tour buses. I thought that was it. I didn't have to. I hired someone to carry my gear.
Yeah,
I wasn't setting up my own gear. Then I thought I'd made it. I'm like, that's it. This is about as good as it gets. I don't have to tote my own keyboard. Sort of like a peak at one point. That was the original core group. And then right when we'd been working to get to this level, our bass player, kind of the founder of the group, quit in the middle of out of nowhere. We lost a little bit of steam after that because it took us a little while to really find ourselves. And we also, as all bands do, realized that all that tour bus, all that paying for the guy to set up my keyboards and all that stuff put us incredibly in debt, which we didn't even know about. I talked to so many other bands, and it's just like that always happens, You get to this point, you think you're doing really well, and then all of a sudden you realize that you're just gotten huge debt and nobody told you. And so, we spent a few years trying to refigure our whole system and refind ourselves. And, fortunately we got Reed Mathis to join the band, who, is an amazing musician, better than any of us, like a huge contribution to us creatively. We added another drummer a couple of years ago, just for fun, just to shake things up. And I feel like we're just really we found a whole new thing and a whole new day. We could have changed the name of the band, but we didn't. Every manager has been like, what? That would be crazy.
Right.
I don't like the name anymore. I'm almost kind of superstitious about it. It's really bad luck to change your name.
But it's tough when you deal with change management like that of new personnel, especially in a band when they're a creative input or a founder. It's like, are we still the same? Am I still me? Are we still us?
Yeah. And you don't want to be the same, You want to change. When our original bass player, Ben C., left, we could have gotten a replacement to just try to be him. But instead we chose Reed Mathis, who it's on the totally different side of the musical spectrum. We made a conscious choice to go, this is an opportunity for us to become different and evolve,
When you play clubs, are you all able to choose a band that opens for you?
Sometimes. For a long time, no. But in the last couple of years, we've been partnering up with bands that are just starting out. You're on the road with people. You're going to be dealing with their stuff every night. And if their music's good, that's great. But if you think they're a bunch of jerks, be kind of miserable backstage. So I like my friends. What I think would be a super, this is something we talked about doing for a long time, is the band ALO, which is, we've kind of been around each other for a long, long time. And they're all super good friends of ours. And we've been talking about doing a tour together for eons. The thing is, no one ever to be able to figure out who would be the headliner or not.
Right.
Those guys were my musical mentors. I went to high school with them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, I was kind of looked up to them, and I like to spend time with them.
You mentioned you like clubs. Do you have any venues in particular that you just really like for any particular reason?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in San Francisco, we're going to play at the Independent, which has been one of my favorite in San Francisco for a long time, ever since it opened. I was just down in New Orleans, and I went down, saw a show at the Maple Leaf in New Orleans. We've played there before, and I'm like, God, I want to get back in this place. That's kind of my dream club to play in right now. I mean, it's an old dirty place, and the toilets are always backed up, and but there's just so much history there. It's just it's leaking off the walls. You just feel the funk coming out of the ceiling, and I've been dreaming about getting back in that place.
As I was looking at In the Wake, the first thing that struck me was the album cover art.
Well, coming up with a title for this record was really hard, just because it's a record that we had the most contributors to the record. Like a lot of the records past, I wrote all the songs, and this record, Josh has 4 songs, Reed has 3 songs, so the writing has really opened up on this. So, we just had a hard time trying to figure out what the title was going to be. We just had so many titles. It took us a long time to figure it out. And then In the Wake just kind of popped up, and we liked it because it had so many meanings. Look at it so many different ways. And also, in a lot of ways, we feel like this record is coming out in the wake of our last record, Radio Tragedy, which was the first record in this new incarnation of the band. And in some ways, I feel like this is like our, I don't know if it's like our whatever, a millionth record, but I don't know how many records we've made, maybe like 8 or something, but I feel like this is also our second record as a band, our sophomore effort. So it made sense like that. The album art was actually done by Josh, the guitar player, and he's done the artwork on a lot of our records. He went to art school and stuff, so
nice.
We kind of let him go with it. I think there was like a conference call where everybody got in and sort of discussed different elements that were going to go into the cover, but I think I was a Big Sur or something, and I missed the call because I didn't have any phone service. So when he started like making the cover, I'm like, what is all this stuff? They're like, when we talked about it, I'm like, oh, I missed that call. I like to let Josh, do what he does best. So whatever you want to do, buddy.
Trevor, I really appreciate the chance to get to talk with you about this new Tea Leaf Green record. Safe travels on the road to all of you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Bye.
Country Fried Rock, music uncovered. Find our full playlist at countryfriedrock.org. You can subscribe to our weekly podcast on iTunes. Just search Country Fried Rock. Our theme music is from The Heap. Check them out at heapdeluxe.com. That's HEAPDELUXE. Our Country Fried Rock stinger is from Steve Soto and the Twisted Hearts. Country Fried Rock. Copyright 2013 by Lilypad Productions. All rights reserved. Country Fried Rock is a partnership with the nonprofit Florence Regional Arts Alliance. Your donations to this program are tax-deductible to the extent you are eligible under U.S. law. Country Fried Rock radio programs are distributed to public radio through the Public Radio Exchange, prx.org.
Ever he been helping us some country fried rock.